Hi Year 3, Miss McGuinness here. We are on Chapter 7 of Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Boggis, Bunce and Bean are getting closer to finding him. So I will read you the Viper's questions and then we'll read the chapter together. This one is quite short, and then we will look over the Viper's questions again before I show you my answers. Okay, hope you enjoy it. So Year 3, the title of Chapter 7 is We'll Never Let Him Go. Goodness me, doesn't sound good for Mr. Fox, does it? Okay, I'm going to start reading now, so think about the Viper's questions that you've seen and let's get started. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Bean switched off the motor of his tractor and climbed down from the driver's seat. Bunce did the same. Both men had had enough. They were tired and stiff from driving the tractors all day. They were also hungry. Slowly they walked over to the small fox's hole in the bottom of the huge crater. Bean's face was purple with rage. Bunce was cursing the fox with dirty words that cannot be printed. Boggis came waddling up. "Damn and blast that filthy, stinking fox," he said. "What the heck do we do now?" Okay, so I'll just pause there because one of our first Viper's questions is a vocabulary question. And you will need to look in this paragraph for the vocabulary that you're going to choose. The question is, what phrase shows anger on page 29? And this is the paragraph that you need to look in. So there is more than one correct answer for this question. So if you want to, you can pause the video clip here. "I'll tell you what we don't do," Bean said. "We don't let him go." "We'll never let him go," Bunce declared. "Never, never, never," cried Boggis. "Did you hear that, Mr. Fox?" yelled Bean, bending low and shouting down the hole. "It's not over yet, Mr. Fox. We're not going home till we've strung you up dead as a dingbat." Whereupon the three men all shook hands with one another and swore a solemn oath that they would not go back to their farms until the fox was caught. Have a think about what that word oath means, because it's not a word that we use very often anymore. The word oath is another word for promise. So they made a promise to each other that they would not go back to their farms until they had caught Fantastic Mr. Fox. Okay, so the next question is a retrieval question. And it says, what is the farmer's new plan? So we're going to have to listen out to see what the farmer's new plan might be. "What's the next move?" asked Bunce, the pot-bellied dwarf. "We're sending you down the hole to fetch him up," said Bean. "Down you go, you miserable midget." "Not me!" screamed Bunce, running away. Bean made a sickly smile. When he smiled, you saw his scarlet gums. You saw more gums than teeth. Oh, have a think there. What does the word scarlet mean? What colour does it make you think of? "Then there's only one thing to do," he said. "We starve him out. We camp here day and night watching the hole. He'll come out in the end, he'll have to." So Boggis and Bunce and Bean sent messages to their farms asking for tents, sleeping bags and supper. Oh, goodness me. They sound like they mean business. So that's the end of that chapter. It's a very short one. The next Viper question says, predict if the farmers will be able to starve the foxes out. So from what you've heard in this chapter, I would now like you to make a prediction and write down if the farmers will be able to starve the foxes out and why you've chosen that prediction. Okay, thank you for listening. I'll see you again when it's chapter 8. Let me just show you. It's called, "Oh dear, the foxes begin to starve." Bye. Okay, so now we're on chapter 7, answers to the Viper's questions. The first question was a vocabulary question. What phrase shows anger on page 29? Now this question has got lots of different answers because actually Boggis, Bunce and Bean were extremely angry at this point. So have a look at mine or go back and have a look at the text again and then compare your answers. So I have taken these words and phrases directly from the text. So the first example is Bean's face was purple with rage. Purple with rage shows us that he was extremely angry and his face was very, very red, almost purple. I have also chosen this phrase. Bunce was cursing the fox. So that means he was really not saying very nice things about fantastic Mr. Fox, showing that he was very angry with him. And the third example I found is, "It's not over yet, Mr. Fox." So that's another phrase showing anger and also showing that they have another plan in mind to get Mr. Fox. Okay, so talking about plans, the next question was a retrieval question. And it says, what is the farmer's new plan? So have a look over your answer and then compare it with mine. So I have written down, their new plan is to send Bunce down the hole to get Mr. Fox. I don't think Bunce was particularly pleased with that. However, he probably is the right size to fit down the hole, so it might not be such a bad plan. I wonder, what do you think? I wonder if that will be successful. I hope not, because I secretly like Mr. Fox. Okay, the next question is a prediction question. Predict if the farmers will be able to starve the foxes out. So this is where you need to let me know your opinion on what you think is going to happen. I will show you what I think, and then you can compare, but whatever your prediction is will be correct. I predict the farmer's plan will not work because Mr. Fox will sneak out to get food. Now I'm thinking that because his name is Fantastic Mr. Fox, hopefully soon he'll come up with a fantastic idea to get his family out of trouble. So I think I'm being rather optimistic there. I'm looking for a good plan to help him out, but we're not sure, don't know about that. Okay, so those were the answers to chapter 7. Check them with yours, and then I will see you for chapter